They a very, very interesting company, not only radar, just yet here in the Caribbean, but they do a lot of great work across the world. And they focus on sovereign cybersecurity ratings. And it's a form of cyber scoring, which is similar to credit scoring. So but I'll hand over to Louise, and he'll be able to give you some more information.
Yes, thanks, Leslie, for the introduction. Hello to everyone. It's a pleasure to be able to speak a little bit about our product. First of all, about BitSight. BitSight is a Boston-based company. We are headquartered in Cambridge. We specialize in IT security ratings. So basically, we use more than 120 different data sources. Okay. These data sources can all be validated by our clients, and they attribute a rating. Yes? So continuing, I was saying that BitSight is the IT security company specialized in IT security ratings. So we use more than 120 data sources to provide intelligence about the cybersecurity performance of companies, industries, and countries. The product that I'm going to mention today is Sovereign Security Rating, which is a product specially designed for governments, for CERTs, and for national cybersecurity standards. I can mention that we already work with the product that we're going to present. We already work with governments such as Belgium, Israel, Austria, Ukraine, and so on. So we have an interesting footprint at this moment of governments using this service in order to assess and to understand the cybersecurity performance of their country. Now, going on to the portal itself, I'm going to use my username and passwords to be able to access my area. And as you can see, this is the first information that I have. These are the KPIs, the key performance indicators that I'm accessing right now. So I am accessing the portal as if I'm an entity in Trinidad and Tobago, government of Trinidad and Tobago. I can see the number of internet users, and I can see the rate that is attributed to my country. First of all, you will see that the rate goes in between 250 and 900, okay? In which 250 would mean a low cybersecurity posture, and 900 would be a very advanced cybersecurity posture, a very good cybersecurity performance. And here we are able to see how the different countries that we are comparing with have performed over time. So I'm able to click on it and see how the rating has evolved over time for these countries here. Okay? I'll be happy to take any questions if something arises, okay? So I was mentioning that with this tool, we are able to understand if there was a specific targeted attack to the country, if there was a specific botnet attack, a specific data breach that might have happened, because it would fluctuate the rating over time, okay? Also important is that with this tool, we are also able to understand how the ratings are behaving for specific, for example, here we are seeing for Trinidad and Tobago. We can also do the same for example, Jamaica, and see what are the most affected industries in our country. For example, now I'm looking at telecommunications, education, energy, resources, and government and politics, and I can add more industries if I want to, okay? As you can see, the first two are basic ratings, so this means that these are the industries that have a lower cybersecurity performance, and if I go for example, credit union, you will see that we have a 708, which is an advanced cybersecurity performance. And in this chart, we will be able to understand how the rating has evolved over a period of 12 months for these specific industries, okay? So for example, a national cybersecurity center or a Ministry of Defense would be able to look at this chart to understand if there's a specific industry that is being targeted, okay? And by this, they will be able to take the appropriate measures to prevent any further damage. Finally, still in the overview, we are able to add the company ratings. At this moment, I don't have any companies added here, but I'm able to search for any company that I might want to. If I search here for Trinidad, I'll be able to search for any company and get more. Yes? For the central bank, I'm going to search for these three keywords. And here it is. So Central Bank for Trinidad and Tobago. So what I have to do in order to see the rating of this specific company of my critical infrastructure would be to subscribe, confirm the subscription, and now I will be able to see the rating for the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago. What number did you mention? Oh, yes. So the number 59 is the number of people that have searched for this company or this organization in our portal. So it means that 59 people, 59 users of BitSight have searched for the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago to see how's the cybersecurity performance of the central bank. Okay? Now, here we will be able to see how the rating has evolved also in the period of 12 months. We will also be able to see some specific highlights. For example, here we have a 20-point drop that happened in November 16, 2017 because we detected open ports problems, okay? The grade for open ports changed from an A, which is very good. It could be some issues with open ports led to a 20-point drop in the rating in the cybersecurity performance of the central bank. Also, December 27, 2017, we had another 20-point drop because we detected botnet infection and Android bots. So if I click here, I will be able to see what is the targeted platform of Android bots and also the risk. Okay? Now, here, if I go to the rating overview, I will be able to see all the criteria that we are analyzing in order to provide the rating. Okay? So we are looking at botnet infections, the propagation, and so on. So the rating is divided in four main parts. First of all, we have the compromised systems, which means 60% of the total rating that we have, and have the user behavior, okay, for file sharing, and the criteria for diligence, in which we are looking at all the configurations, all the security infrastructure that is being implemented in an entity. As it's very easy to understand, an A that the vector is doing very good, and an F that is doing very bad. For example, for botnet infections, we have a D, and if we click on it, we will be able to see that we are in the bottom 30% of all the companies in the comparison between the central bank and the finance industry averages. Now, if I want to see more details and more granular information about this, I will be able to click on details and see the complete list of infections that have been detected over time. So we have the type, the location, start and end date, the number of days that the infection was active. For example, we have a configure here that was active for eight days, okay? And we can also see more information such as the detection mechanism, okay? All of these data can also be shared with an entity. So once again, let's imagine that I'm the cybersecurity agency of Trinidad and Tobago. So what I want to do is to share information with central banks so they will be able to remediate it. So if I click here on enable company access, I will be able to put my contact of the person of the security of the central bank, and they will receive an access to this portal in order to review the information that we are presenting and to remediate all the issues that we have been detecting.
Okay. So Louise, hello. Louise, you hear me?
Yes?
So I just wanted to do a quick recap and just make sure everybody understands what they're seeing. So BitSight operates the largest sinkhole technology in the world. Basically, all traffic perusing the internet is captured by them and logged. And what they do, they go through the process of reverse engineering which IPs belong to which organizations. What they've done in this case is they've classified all the IPs that belong to Trinidad and Tobago, and they produce a cyber score for our country. They have visibility into every single IP, every single click, every single website that has been perused over the last year from anybody in Trinidad. And that's what we're looking at. That's what, this is how the world sees us.
Exactly, and that's the interesting part is the fact that the rating is able to be viewed by any organization, any client from bid side. They are able to view the information that we have, okay? And the same for the central bank or any other organization. So we are mentioning compromises, which indeed we operate the largest single infrastructure in the industry that allows us.
So Louis, so we're a little strapped for time. We went a little over, but I want to thank you for your presentation. It gives us some insight into what we could do right now to secure our countries. Thank you.
The better way to secure any organization, industry, or country would be to have an increasingly better cybersecurity posture, to be able to remediate any issues that you might have within your infrastructure to guarantee that you have a lower risk for data breaches and so on. So what this tool
Louis, sorry, I'll have to cut you off now. I would probably fill them in on the details if they have any questions. Thank you.
Sure, it was a pleasure.
And if I
Thank you so much.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Okay, we want to indeed apologize for the rush, but we only have 15 minutes. So we have heard a lot of discussion this morning on the issue of cybersecurity. We had very enlightening discussion from Mr. Persad. We heard about Mr. Misnik this morning, and what I want to do at this time is we know Mr. Leufuk. We haven't heard up from Ms. Modell, so I'm going to give her 1 minute just to say something, and then and then we are going to ask questions. There will be some questions coming from the keyboard, and whatever questions you may have for the panel, we'll take it right away. So, Ms. Modell. Murrell. I keep changing people's name here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, in terms of cybersecurity, where are we in the Caribbean? In a study that was conducted by OAS, it is said that in the Caribbean and Latin America, we are not ready. And definitely we are not. When we look at the Caribbean islands, it's only Jamaica and Trinidad who has some formal documentation in terms of how they deal with issues of cybersecurity, in terms of having a national cybersecurity policy, a strategy which will guide the actions, as well as having a cyber security incidents response team that will be able to deal with threats when they come in. Someone said this morning it's not a matter of if, but when. It has started already. The thing is, most of it is not reported. And one of the mechanisms that I think that needs to be in place is that there must be a reporting mechanism so that persons can make, or organizations can make reports when they encounter these incidents. We know for a fact they are happening, and countries are losing lots of money in terms of cyber security threats. And so, for me, at the Ministry of Information and Ministry of Telecommunications and Information Technology, our focus going forward would be in terms of moving Antigua to the next level, in terms of formalizing a policy, strategy. At the same time, we still need to have a mechanism in place to respond to incidents, but we need to set up a national cyber security incident response team. I would urge the other Caribbean countries, we can learn from the other islands that have already gone through the process. The UK, we have heard from Estonia, you have Canada, the US, and Trinidad and Tobago, as well as Jamaica. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. What we need to do is to take what they've done and adapt it to meet our unique circumstances. Thank you.
Okay, so let me put a slight correction to what Ms. Murrell has said. Dominica has a cybersecurity strategy. Yes. No, it hasn't been published yet. We did a... No, let me explain. We had we brought down the OAS, we brought down the Congress Secretariat, the Council of Europe. We had a big consultation in Dominica in 2014, and we came up with a cybersecurity strategy, which is now for approval in cabinet. And we also we did a gap analysis to find out where our strengths and weaknesses are. That was about a 66-page document. And so we have a cybersecurity strategy as we speak in Dominica. We have a cybersecurity policy. We did a gap analysis. In fact, we are also a member of the Stop Think Connect convention. So the problem is we have not published it yet because it has not been approved by cabinet. So I'm hoping within the next few months, we should get that approved quickly. So in fact, when we had that meeting in Uruguay, it was Trinidad and Jamaica for sure that had made that step, and also Dominica. All right, so I just wanted to make some correction there. We have a question on the key bit. What cyber resilience maturity framework or model would you recommend for adoption?
Should I pass that on? I can respond. It has to be in alignment with the business continuity framework as well. So when we talk about resilience and cyber resilience, we generally bring the concept of continuity into the whole exchange. We're talking ISO 22301, if I have the number correct. So it's more an alignment to a standard as opposed to a framework. And how I view things is that from standards, which it's a lot of intellectual information going into that particular standard. From that, a framework is actually built. And then you take the component parts of the framework that are relevant to you to implement. So I always go back to the standards, which is the basis for frameworks. So I think it should be aligned to that particular standard, 22301. There are other components, or the whole family tree in the 22301. I hope that answers the question, or if whoever asked the question, if you're looking for something more specific, please do let us know.
But let me just add to that, though. The Congress Secretariat, which I spoke about earlier, they do have a model. We call it CCI model. And in that model, they looked at certain parameters. When we had that meeting in Dominica, the symposium with the OAS and the European Union, we looked at certain pillars. We came up with 5 pillars necessary for the framework. And I think what we could do is, maybe after this meeting, I can share with you some of those pillars. But there is a CCI model, the OAS has a model, and what we seek to do at the time was to take the best pieces, the best practices from all of them, and put it together. So the ITU has a model, and that's the thing. You can choose which one you want based on your country's circumstances, but it has to be the best practice. Anyway? Okay. I see another question here. As governments move towards the 21st century governance,
I think you missed the first one.
I'll come back to that, and improve cybersecurity, how can governments bring the private sector on board, particularly MSMEs?
Well, so in Trinidad, we do have a CERT. It's highly under-resourced, undermanned, and I'm already in talks with them on how we could support them. BitSite is one of the ways we're doing it. So it gives them visibility into the entire country. A single person could see every activity in the country. They could go down to an individual IP address and see traffic for the last 12 months. So I think appropriate tooling is definitely a big part to play with it, because we have the technology to support these things, even if we don't have, lots of resources or lots of trained expertise.
I think it's important to understand the whole function of the CERT as well, or the C-CERT as some people call them. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, the C-CERT would be the Computer Security Incident Response Team. And at a national level, the CERT actually has a common mandate wherever you go in the world. And one of them would be the collection and dissemination of information. They can take it to a next level where they actually assist organizations within public and even private sector to be able to manage incidents as well and recover from incidents. So that's the whole mandate there. In terms of how the private sector can be leveraged or can be a partner in that whole entire drive, I think Leslie is absolutely right. From a solutions perspective, it's important. I mean, the CERT or the C-CERT may never be fully equipped with the tools and technologies that are relevant to fulfill that particular mandate. In my view, they will also never be fully equipped to have the manpower to execute on that mandate. So it's very important that the bodies, the persons, the professional services bodies are actually brought into the frame of the discussion so that those things can be discussed from a holistic standpoint.
Interestingly, from the model that we had from the CCI, you can have financial certs, so you can have the finance industry can have their own little certs, which is like what they call a sectoral cert. So you can have the transportation system have the cert. However, there should be a national coordinating body, the national cert, that coordinates all the activity in the country. So if there's anything outside, they have to deal with foreign countries, it would be the national cert that will take care of that. But you can have sectoral certs. You can have one for the financial sector, one for the utilities, and so forth. I remember back home when we were doing the consultation, I called one of the banks and tell them, look, we would like you to come to the consultation. They say, I have my suit already. I have my stuff in place already. I said, that's fine. There's nothing wrong if you come in to lend your expertise to the group. And then they came in. So you can have those persons already paying thousands of dollars to protect their systems. However, the country itself should have a national cert which can coordinate all the activities of the sectoral certs. Okay, I see one more question here. Before I take that question, anybody in the audience has a question they want to ask? I mean, all these interesting discussions we had this morning, nobody has a question. What free antivirus would you recommend?
Please, so in the good words of my grandmother, cheap thing, no good. A good thing, no cheap. Jamaica's already lost 100 million last year, and Anil's already established that the devices that we use every day, there's no overlap in terms of where our personal data and where our company's data is stored. Once they get into these devices, they get everything. Invest.
Just a quick note on that, though. And I'm not sure if the question was asked at a personal level or at a corporate level. So at a personal level, and I can probably just throw just some personal experience at it. I've always found, and you know all the Avast and the semantics and all these things. In my view, and this is, we play around and gather metrics ourselves. I've always found that Avast, do go and tell your organizations that Anil Persad said to use Avast. Please. I use Avast on most of my devices. Not the free version, of course, always, but I do use the free version sometimes. But it always picks up malware or anomalies on the system that even some of the other vendors out there do not. So the AVGs and even the semantics sometimes, they do not pick up some, but Avast may pick it up. Having said that, the converse would apply as well, or the inverse would apply.
Yeah. All right. Please identify yourself there.
The difference I'm seeing between a free antivirus and a paid for antivirus was the type of feature that they offer. As you know, signature-based and heuristic-based. So what I was seeing with the free antivirus was that they don't offer the heuristic baseline monitoring, which actually, monitors the system, like actually take a snapshot of. So basically, I want to know if, well, the guy at the back was, actually, we were talking about it at the back. I want to know if it was a myth. I researched it, but y'all are professionals, so I want to actually know if it was a myth, if it's actually possible, realistic. As in, versus the free antivirus not offering heuristic baseline because it's free. So like they force you to buy the paid version, then they actually they give you upgrade to the heuristic baseline monitoring, if you follow. Yeah. So yeah, you can shed some light to it.
Okay, very quickly though. I'm not sure how much of the audience would be interested in the technical aspect of it. But heuristic versus signature-based. I mean, signature-based, all intents and purposes, it's something that's actually known, it's understood, and the antivirus vendor has basically put an index or a tag against that. So if it shows up anywhere, they'll be able to do a quick direct match. Heuristic-based might be more behavior-based, right? Which is a little more leading, a little more forward-thinking. So it's like an anomaly detection. So clearly, that would probably cost, not probably, certainly would cost a lot more. Right, so yes, and a lot of the leading vendors out there offer that feature now. We have had a few vendors speaking at the symposium, and the tools and utilities out there that offer security do have heuristic-based. Okay, no, you get a lot more when you pay for it.
It varies product to product. We couldn't be specific and talk about something, but it's a marketing thing, don't worry.
Yeah, okay. Good. All right. But I thought since you had done some research, you would enlighten us. Okay. Yeah, we have another question coming from the Kibet. Given the evolving nature of threats, will ongoing training be a requirement for cybersecurity teams in the government, and will independent audits be adopted? And I think Ms. Murrell, the one now.
Okay. By the very nature of the cyber threats, training must be ongoing. There's no if and or but about it. It must be ongoing. Not only in the government sector, but in the private sector as well. The teams, the cybersecurity teams, they must undergo training as well. Remember, you have to keep abreast of what is happening. The hackers, they are making sure that they are up to date, and in order to be on par or be ahead, well, I guess you can't be ahead of them. You have to have that constant training. Sadly, the training is not cheap, it's expensive, but it's an investment that is worth having.
Okay, I'm sorry.
If I could just address the last part. So we're talking about independent audits, and I don't want anybody to be fooled by what audits are. I mean, you meet all of these requirements, but as soon as an audit is done, then it's stale. What we need to look at is continuous monitoring and ensure in real time that we're not being hacked. I mean, Equifax, they found out about the hack maybe 3 months after it initially happened. Yeah.
Okay, I think we are running out of time here. So I'm going to ask each of the panelists to just give 30 seconds round up, and then we'll close the discussion. Starting with Mr. Folk.
So, I mean, it's been a pretty enjoyable panel and a pretty enjoyable day. The biggest thing for me is that, again, we all leave here and personally take action, whether you're interested in cybersecurity or analytics or policy, that we all take that next step and support our ministers and prime ministers.
In terms of cybersecurity, we normally look at external threats coming in. But one of the things that we need to consider, that threats can come from within the organization as well. We can have incidents occurring there, and we need to consider those. Personal responsibility was spoken of this morning. Each user has a personal responsibility as well in terms of making sure that they're not opening up the organization to any threats.
I believe the most provoking question, in my view, was the one that alluded to public and private partnership with respect to managing cybersecurity. I think that we cannot avoid that model. It's always going to be a challenge wherever you go in the Caribbean for finance. That's not going to go away. And budgets don't come quick. They don't come easy, and we understand that. The more aggressive players you're going to see out there, the guys who are leading edge, who understand what out there looks like, those are the ones who can probably bring the view and the vision. And basically a partnership can enable you to have a fuller view of your organization, maintain better control of the organization, and have the correct, the mechanisms around it to operate efficiently. It's important. The audit aspect of it shouldn't be overlooked. It's not always about a technical, it's not always about a pen or a pen test. And it's not always about a hack like that. I think one of the points that I would have shown a little earlier was that the guys are moving in a very covert sort of way, where they are basically simulating a behavior of one of the administrators. It's very difficult to detect. All the next generation tools sometimes miss that. But you put proper behavior combined with proper technology, and you're probably going to get something better coming out. Thank you.
Okay, let me just close up by saying, those of us in the Caribbean who have not yet even put a strategy in place, we should begin to do that, because we are sitting ducks really, and one person get attacked, the entire country, region can be attacked. If you have not put in a cybersecurity framework in place or a strategy, I would recommend that you do so as quickly as possible, because we have the necessary expertise within the region to assist us in doing so. Once again, let me thank the panelists. I want to put your hands together for the panelists. And thank you.